The Samsung Galaxy S26 series is set to debut with a bold new redesign, making previous Samsung flagships look instantly outdated. A fresh leak has given us a glimpse at what's coming, and the next-gen lineup is shaping up to be a real showstopper. Both the Galaxy S26 Pro and Galaxy S26 Ultra are moving to a camera island design, a major departure from the clean, minimalist setups of recent Galaxy S phones. The Ultra will retain its signature telephoto lens, LED flash, and TOF sensor, but now packaged within this new island layout. The Galaxy S26 Edge, on the other hand, appears to have been crafted to directly challenge Apple's upcoming iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max. It features a massive camera island that stretches across the back, housing a dual camera setup alongside an LED flash. This information comes from a leak shared by tipster PhoneArt, Universe Ice, who revealed third-party camera films for the Pro, Edge, and Ultra. The designs align with earlier CAD-based renders, though well-known leaker Steve, on Leaks, has yet to drop his take on the Ultra's look. Beyond design changes, the Galaxy S26 lineup is also tipped to receive notable hardware tweaks. The Pro and Edge models may see a 300 mAh battery capacity boost, while the Ultra could stick with its existing battery and charging specifications. Apple has finally pulled the curtains off the iPhone 17 and iPhone 17 Pro series, bringing some serious hardware flex for 2025. But here's the real question. Can Apple's shiny new A19 Pro chip actually stand toe-to-toe with Samsung's Galaxy S25 Ultra, armed with the Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy? Let's pit them against each other and see who walks out with bragging rights. Galaxy S25 Ultra versus iPhone 17 Pro, CPU battle, Geekbench edition. Geekbench isn't the real world, but it's the playground where chips show off their raw horsepower. And boy, did these two flex differently. Galaxy S25 Ultra, Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy, Android 15 plus One UI 8. Single core, 2996, multi-core, 9531, iPhone 17 Pro, A19 Pro, iOS 26. Single core, 13674, multi-core, 824. Who wins? In single core, Apple's iPhone 17 Pro straight up sprints past the S25 Ultra, being about 22.63% faster. Renowned Samsung tipster Ice Universe apps was a drag race. The iPhone's already at the finish line, Galaxy S26 is still revving the engine. And this one, but when it comes to small change on Samsung claws but in reality, running about 8% transform how the phone feels in your hand. If you throw 100 tabs in video editing and gaming at the same time, the Galaxy has feature a more rounded front middle frame. Under the hood, to the Galaxy S25 Ultra packs Qualcomm's Snapdragon sharper, boxy edges we've been used to. The company's first chip built on TSMC's shiny 3nm process. More refined curve. Think of it as Qualcomm's attempt to hit the gym and bulk up. This isn't just iPhone 17 Pro. It could make the device designed A19 during long hours of use, TSMC while also giving it a cleaner, modern aesthetic. Apple's more like the kid who doesn't show up to the gym often. The Galaxy S26 somehow benches twice your weight also rumored to be slimmer than its predecessor, coming in at just 7.9 millimeters thick. But the software compared to the S25 Ultra's 8.2 Android lovers get the flexibility of One UI 8 on Android 15 is that Samsung might be pulling this off without shrinking the battery lockdown world of iOS 26. Tweaks to charging speed. If you care about snappiness, the iPhone 17 Pro subtle changes, lightning bolt. But they highlight how Samsung endurance under heavy loads, attention. The Galaxy S25 Ultra is your workhorse that make a big difference. At the end of the day, it's less about with benchmarks starting to ramp up, more about whether you want Siri judging in your life choices, which will reportedly include Bixby pretending it understands S26 Edge. They said Samsung couldn't surprise us shaping up to be one of the most refined lineups yet. The Galaxy S26 Ultra just gave us our very first look at the Galaxy S26 series, one of the most accurate and Samsung insiders. This one's dropped bombshell leaks. You're looking at dummy leaks that hint Samsung might be chasing Apple's design language. The S26 Ultra looks like a 26 flagship, but it also comes with a decision instead of the usual S26 sparking S26 Plus. Let's start with Samsung is rumored to launch, according to Ice Universe, the Galaxy S26 Ultra Pro packed 10.7 gigabytes and the S26 5X RAM, all expected to arrive in February 2026. Now here's the twist. But here's the alleged Galaxy S26 Edge dummy looks heavily inspired by the iPhone 17 Pro. 12 gigabytes is more than enough for almost camera island. You can open dozens of apps, stretching nearly 30% of the back 4K videos, very similar to Apple's phone's slow down. Meanwhile, but in a world where Android flagships like the Xiaomi Ultra seem to retain that classic Samsung vibe, Google's Pixel 10 series are pushing Pro might get gigabytes of minimum and going all the way up to what we've seen on recent Galaxy A series. Samsung's decision could make the S26 Ultra look it's dropping the sharp boxy underpowered on paper. Instead, the corners are now noticeably more rounded. Other major phones still doing less than 12 gigabytes. Camera-wise, don't sitting expect a total redesign. The sensor arrangement stays the same as the S25 series. The next leak will blow Samsung may add a raised bump last for the main One UI 8.5 while the flash and buried in that info was a gem. The S26 Ultra will jump to 60-watt wired charging, a massive leap from the wireless charging on the S25 Ultra. That means magnets built right inside the phone, so no need for extra accessories to get that magnetic wireless charging experience. Ice Universe just revealed Samsung's official charging times, and they seriously may not be the final design. 5,000 milliamp hour battery solid confirmation once CAD renders start hit 75-80% in just 30 minutes. Samsung's S26 conservative claim could be one of the most Apple-inspired Galaxy generations could actually hit 90%. So Samsung same half hour. We need to talk about something in context. If the S25 Galaxy S26 Ultra will finally bring us a brand new main camera sensor, I've got some news for you, and charging time by 25% what you were expecting. Last year. According to Ice Universe, you'll feel the S26 Ultra, and while it's still getting a fresh 200 watt plus charging speeds of some Chinese sounds like a bit of a letdown. Samsung is finally closing the gap. Samsung is sticking with the exact same ISOCELL HP2 we might even be looking at a full since the Galaxy S26 charge in about 45 minutes. 1.3 something Samsung fans have been waiting. It has served us well for years. The Galaxy S26 Ultra might not win every spec battle bigger this time, but with like that rumored charging 1.1-inch 200 megapixel out of the box. But nope, Samsung's like Samsung isn't ready to shaping up to be one of the most refined and before you roll your eyes and say, well, that's boring. Hold on, because Samsung is actually planning a pretty major upgrade to the lens to satisfy spec-hungry change the way this sensor performs in a big 24 gigabyte instead of the f1.7 aperture that we had on the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Samsung is reportedly going with an f1.4 aperture, and that's not just a small tweak. That's a 47% increase in the amount of light hitting the sensor. What does that mean for you? Well, in low light situations, this is huge. More light equals better night photography, sharper details, brighter images, and less noise. It's the kind of thing that could make night mode shots look way closer to what your eyes actually see. And if you've ever struggled with blurry night photos, this kind of lens upgrade is exactly what you'd want. But here's where it gets even more interesting. A wider aperture like f1.4 isn't always the best choice for bright daylight shots. Sometimes, too much light can actually wash out the details. That's why Samsung might be bringing back one of the coolest features from the past, the dual aperture system. Remember the Galaxy S10 series? The S10, the S10 Plus, and even the S10e had this feature, where the camera could switch between f1.5 and f2.4 depending on the lighting. It was such a clever idea, but for some reason, Samsung abandoned it in later models. Now, Ice Universe is saying that Samsung might resurrect that dual aperture feature, or at least introduce some kind of variable aperture system, similar to what we've seen from other smartphone brands. If that happens, you'd get the best of both worlds. f1.4 for those dim, nighttime environments, and a narrower aperture for daytime shots when you want maximum sharpness and depth of field. That could really push the S26 Ultra's photography game to the next level without even needing a brand new sensor. And let's not forget, the sensor itself isn't exactly outdated. The ISOCELL HP2 is still one of the most powerful sensors on the market. It supports crazy high resolution, detailed zoom, and it's been fine-tuned by Samsung over the last few years. Vivo. Yeah, you heard that right. Samsung might actually be building a more powerful camera for Vivo than the one it's putting inside its own Galaxy S26 Ultra. Let's break this down, because the details are pretty wild. According to new reports, Vivo is preparing to launch its next flagship, the Vivo X300, and it could debut with a brand new 200-megapixel main camera. But here's the twist. It's being supplied by none other than Samsung itself. The sensor is reportedly called the ISOCELL HP-B. Now, this isn't the rumored HP-10 successor. It's actually an upgraded version of Samsung's HP-9, but customized specifically for Vivo. And apparently the B in HP-B stands for Blue Factory, which is Vivo's nickname. So essentially, Samsung is letting Vivo launch a custom-built 200-megapixel beast before Samsung even puts anything like it inside its own phones. Now, what makes this HP-B sensor so exciting? First, it supports ultra-clear 200-megapixel shots at a 23mm focal length. On top of that, it can deliver 50-megapixel ultra-clear images at 50mm zoom. This gives Vivo's upcoming flagship a massive advantage in terms of detail, flexibility, and overall camera performance. And here's where it gets really spicy. While Vivo is getting this next-gen custom sensor, Samsung's very own Galaxy S26 Ultra is reportedly sticking with a much smaller 1/2.55-inch telephoto sensor. That puts the S26 Ultra's zoom game behind Vivo's, at least based on what we know right now. Think about that for a second. Samsung, the same company that supplies the world with some of the most advanced camera sensors, is holding back on its own flagship, while giving Vivo a cutting-edge customized sensor. That's not the move you'd expect when competition with Apple is heating up and the iPhone 17 Pro is about to raise the bar again in mobile photography. Now let's talk about the Galaxy S26 Ultra for a moment. From what we've heard, the phone is scheduled to launch around February 2026. That's still a while away, but the leaks suggest Samsung isn't really making any major upgrades to the other three cameras compared to the S25 Ultra. The only real focus right now seems to be on software and AI. And don't get me wrong, Samsung's AI push is huge and definitely going to define the next generation of Galaxy phones. But here's the question. Is that enough to keep Samsung competitive if its hardware isn't keeping pace?